As a parliamentarian who's been in Parliament for 20 years, one of the most important things that I learned as a parliamentarian was that the public are very watchful of what you speak in Parliament and the comments you make, the debates you participate in, and how you present yourself. And I learned that when you make speeches where you have learned your subject, you have information, you have data, you come up with the statistics and you make a point, you have clearly studied your subject, it's well appreciated by the public. They know that you're making a point and you're very scientifically speaking on your subject. So that was something that in the 20 years I built up, I learned, and I found the value of evidence-based evaluations emanating from that. When you talk in Parliament with evidence and you show that something is wrong, people believe in you, people respect you, and your stature, your acceptability, it becomes more as a parliamentarian amongst the public. And out of that, one of the most striking features in my parliamentary career in terms of where I saw how valuable evaluation was that we have a committee of public enterprises in Parliament which probes into the activities of all public enterprises, and there was a report, an evaluative report of the level of mismanagement, the level of corruption in the public enterprises in Sri Lanka, which was a drain on the treasury, and through that it was a drain on the monies, the opportunity cost for people, because people's programs were being cut because the treasury was spending more money trying to revive these public enterprises. And that, as a result of the evaluative report, there was a huge rising in the country of making management more efficient, to clamp down on corruption, to make sure that there was transparency and accountability in these public enterprises. So the evaluative report had such an impact on the people of Sri Lanka, on the government of Sri Lanka, that there were huge changes that came across. And it translated even into votes in the elections that we had. So that we learned the power of evaluation through that. Well, especially at a time that we're talking about the Sustainable Development Goals as a follow-up to the Millennium Development Goals, one of the gaps that people found was that in the Millennium Development Goals we hadn't talked about inclusivity. There was an issue that we didn't take into perspective the gender factor and also of equity-focused evaluations, etc., and that was an issue. So the Sustainable Development Goals which have come around, which is more gender responsive and equity focused evaluations, parliamentarians have a huge role, perhaps the largest role to play in this, because parliamentarians deal with people, with voters. And if you look at most countries, 50% or plus of the population is women, and also a huge percentage of most countries have marginalized communities, minority communities, etc. For an example, if you take the number of, there are 35 million girls in the world over who don't have schools, and out of the 35 million girls, 2/3 of them or more are from minority backgrounds. So if you look at those figures, you know, the fact that you're talking about gender responsive and equity focused evaluations becomes critical. And to be able to establish these standards in a country and to be able to push to make evaluations gender responsive and equity focused, and to make evaluation really happen, and to make sure that evaluations are understood and through evaluations that action is being taken, it is the parliamentarian, because they have the power to do it. It's the political leaders who can make the changes, who can implement laws, who can actually make things happen. So one of the gaps we have seen in the past couple of years is that there's been a huge gap between the evaluators and the political leadership. That's what we are trying to bridge. That's why we thought that the global parliamentary forum for evaluation becomes critical, and in beginning to bring these two communities together, because one cannot work with the other. You need the parliamentarians to drive this, and that has become now a reality. We see more parliamentarians taking part in evaluation conferences, workshops, building capacities, talking about evaluation, pushing evaluation, standing up for gender responsive and equity focused evaluation to try and achieve the sustainable development goals.
Thank you.